Hi, I'm Carlin Borisenko. In early 2020, I was the knitting Democrat who accidentally went viral on the internet for going to a Trump rally and then left the party. I became the conservative darling, was on all the shows, traveled around the country, and then realized that conservatives were no better than Democrats. If there's one thing that I've learned, it's that both political tribes are two sides of the same coin. But it wasn't all bad. On my journey, I became obsessed with understanding the woke ideology and the culture war. I broke the story of the city of Seattle doing segregated training with its employees.
How bad has this stuff become? The city of Seattle has now put out, I'm not kidding you, this is according to Dr. Carolyn Borisenko, who's an organizational psychologist. The city of Seattle asked its white employees to voluntarily spend a day off in a training about their internalized racial superiority.
I broke the story that led to the first ever federal lawsuit against critical race theory in the schools. I broke the Coke Be Less White story, one of the biggest anti-woke stories of all time. It got over 30 million views. Coca-Cola's corporate headquarters even had to change their outgoing voicemail.
Throughout the past few days, you may have seen inaccurate reporting on the content of our recently launched diversity, equity, and inclusion training program.
I exposed the schools in Burlington, Vermont for grooming middle school children live on the internet. They called me an unwoke cult leader for that. And the Vermont Human Rights Commission slandered me publicly as being a hate channel. I even got called a hero in Breitbart for exposing that the Washington Post was writing a hit piece on Christopher Rufo. I have broken story after story after story about what's going on in the public schools, from Cambridge, Massachusetts, to autistic sex education, to the Department of Education in Michigan, literally training teachers all over the state how to groom children. I wrote a book called Actively Unwoke, the ultimate guide for fighting back against the woke insanity in your life. I host a podcast all about fighting back, and I'm downloading all of my knowledge to you on my Substack, carlin.substack.com. The world is a crazy place. We are literally surrounded by cults on all sides. On this show, we're going to do a deep dive into all aspects of the culture war, and I will show you the dark, dystopian underbellies on both sides. Here are the commitments I'll make to you. I will always tell you the truth. I will always bring you receipts. And if you stick with me, I promise you will see the world differently. Welcome to the cult. Please mount that like button for me and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Well, I just had some thoughts. This was not in the plan. The plan was I was going to go watch a movie, which I did. And we watched, Knock at the Cabin, which I thought was very good. Not, the best movie, but really decent, interesting story. I liked the allegory, all that. I won't ruin it for people who haven't seen it, but I recommend it. I think it's really good. So I want to watch the movie, but before I want to watch the movie, something interesting happened before I went and watched the movie. And let me show you what happened. So, of course, me being me, I'm always trolling around Twitter because, what's the good of Twitter if you can't troll around it, And so I noticed that Yasser Ali, who is the person who broke the story about Steven Crowder, I noticed he did a little update because Steven released a video and he basically said that he was going to ask, hang on, wait, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Hang on. We'll get back to this in a second. Hang on. It's this chill stream, okay? It's after midnight. I have an incense in my hand. Let's light it. You got some candles? Light them up. We're chilling tonight, guys. No bullshit, no shit posting, no nonsense. Don't want to hear it. You can shit post anywhere else you like. You can't do it here tonight because we're relaxing, folks. It is Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning. There we go. Why are you guys even on the internet in the first place? Hang on one sec. I gotta put in my incense holder. Just stuck my finger in a bunch of ash. All right. Kino, I don't know what you're talking about. I would never get high on the internet. That would never happen. I don't know why you guys keep accusing me of this. It would never, ever, ever happen. All right, back to the story. We're all chill, right? We've mounted the like button. We're good. Everyone got a beverage. All right. So I was trolling around Twitter after happy hour earlier, and I happened to notice that Yasser Ali had posted an update to his story about Steven Crowder. And Steven Crowder basically released this statement basically saying, "I'm going to ask the court to unseal some documents because my reputation has been besmirched." I'm not sure if that's necessarily the best move that he could make, but that's, I mean, it's his life. He can do what he wants. And I happened to notice that Yasser Ali had commented on that. And he said, "Steven Crowder has responded to my story. First, you don't need context for the full video in my story. Also, well, he's acting as if his wife attacked him first. Let's he spoke about their divorce despite being asked not to, and then lied by essentially calling her a homewrecker." Well, there's a lot to unpack in this, isn't there? First off, Yasser Ali is, of course, behaving like a leftist because, as a reminder, Yasser Ali is a leftist. And I continue to wonder, why was Yasser Ali the person who was the recipient of Hillary Crowder's video that obviously came from Hillary Crowder and obviously was cut to the exact 3-minute clip that Hillary Crowder's divorce lawyers wanted us to see? I continue to wonder why that was leaked to such an avowed leftist as Yasser Ali when Candace Owens admitted in her response that she knew something was coming out. No, I don't think that's possible, because Yasser Ali is gay, but for realsies, have you guys actually seen a picture of Yasser Ali? Hang on, side note, let me just show you guys what Yasser Ali actually looks like. Just real quick, just for funsies. For funsies. This used to be Yasser Ali's Twitter profile picture. And this is what Yasser Ali looks like in real life, in realsies. Oh, that one's even better. Now, I know, I'm not the most photogenic of people at all times. I get it. You can do the same thing with my AI art Twitter photo, which it really still just confuses me that people comment on my AI art Twitter photo like it's real. Like, seriously, guys, my skin is yellow. It's yellow. Like, I look like I'm on The Simpsons. It's supposed to be an abstract. I digress. I'm just saying that this is who we're talking about when we're talking about Yasser Ali here. Now, so I don't think besides being gay and from a really it is set to subscribers. Oh my gosh, already getting controls with subscribers. So I don't think he knocked her up. No, I don't think that's what happened. But it is interesting to me that Yasser Ali is claiming that his story contained the full video. Because the story that Yasser Ali wrote has a 3-minute video. I don't know that any fight in the history of marital bickering has ever been 3 minutes long. I mean, I think we can surmise that if Yasser Ali ever was lucky enough to find someone in his bed, 3 minutes might be a high point for him, but in terms of, like, actual relationships and people getting in fights, 3 minutes is, well, a little low. So Yasser Ali's performance in the bedroom, 3 minutes would be this is why I got it, guys. I just figured it out. I figured this out live on the internet. The reason why Yasser Ali thinks that a 3-minute video is the full video is because for Yasser Ali and the performance that he's used to, 3 minutes is like a Herculean feat. I mean, do we ever think he's even gotten there in his life? I don't know. But my point is that there has never been a marital fight in the history of fights that lasted for 3 minutes and 3 minutes only. So you cannot claim in any reality in which you're actually existing with married people that that is the full video. It is not the full video. It is a 3-minute clip released by Hillary Crowder and, more importantly, Hillary Crowder's divorce lawyers that is precisely the 3-minute clip that they all wanted us to see. Conveniently, with everything edited out of the real full video that they did not want us to see. Now, just to be really, really, really crystal clear, as I was in my first stream on this, I'm not thrilled with the way Steven Crowder acted in that video. I'm not suggesting that the way Steven Crowder acted, the way he spoke to his wife, the obvious control issues that Steven Crowder has, and I really have no doubt that he is an absolute control freak. The weird thing about her not being able to take the car to go to the store, there were many things in that video that I was not personally a fan of. I'm not suggesting that Steven Crowder is the hero. I am not suggesting that Steven Crowder is a good guy. I have never spoken to the man in my life. I don't know. And for those who are going to make this accusation, I don't even watch Steven Crowder. My husband watches Steven Crowder. I don't. I'm not like a Steven Crowder super fan. I'm not even like a minor fan. I don't watch Steven Crowder. I don't watch anyone. So I'm not simping for Crowder. I don't want to be on his network. I don't want any of that. I don't really care either way. It actually makes no difference to me, except I find the psychology of this whole thing fascinating. And having myself been on the receiving end of conservative smear campaigns, I damn well know what they look like when I see it. So while I'm not suggesting that Steven Crowder is perfect, and I'm not suggesting that his behavior in that video was good, I am suggesting that the 3-minute clip that we all saw is not the full video. I also think it's funny that Yasser Ali is saying that Steven Crowder is implying that his wife attacked him first. I didn't get that from the video. I got that there were other things going on, possibly mental health problems, possibly like other information that would be embarrassing to Hillary Crowder that, to be quite frank, I really hope Steven Crowder doesn't release. I really hope he doesn't do this. Like, the situation needs to be tampered down. And Candace Owens and the Daily Wire sticking their noses in the situation has already done enough damage. Okay, well, they could argue that Steven Crowder recorded conversations with them back last year and then released them in January. Okay, fine, that's a valid point. Fine, 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 fine. However, recording business conversations is not the same thing as sticking your nose in someone's divorce in order to run a smear campaign because you're pissed off that he recorded and accurately articulated your business dealings. Those two are not, they're not the same thing, okay? I digress. I didn't get from Steven Crowder's statement that he is implying that his wife attacked him first. So why does Yasser Ali seem to think he is? Did Hillary Crowder say to Yasser Ali that there were things leading up to that 3-minute clip that perhaps led to Steven acting, well, not at his best? I'm not making any accusations. I just think it's interesting that that's what Yasser Ali read into this in the first place. But that's not even the real point I want to make. The point I actually wanted to make is that I saw that Yasser Ali responded to Steven Crowder and he posted inaccurately at best that he had released the full video. Yasser Ali did not release the full video. This is just factual, guys. This isn't even hard to surmise. And so I tweeted Yasser Ali, not really thinking of it because I've never actually even interacted with the guy, and I quote tweet people sometimes when I'm trying to make a point. And my audience on Twitter doesn't actually go and attack people. I feel like I've trained my Twitter audience really well, where if I'm quote tweeting someone, I don't actually want them to be a Twitter mob. I'm trying to inform them of an opinion, but I don't want them to go and mob people. And I actively rather tell my audience not to do that. So I quote tweeted Yasser Ali and I said, a 3-minute video is not the full video. We don't know what happened before it. We don't know what happened after it. Everyone who has been married for a long time knows that if you cut 3 minutes out of a fight, it could make someone look very bad. And that doesn't mean it reflects reality. I have heard from countless married people over the last, day, ever since this news broke and I started talking about it. I have heard from countless married people saying, you know what? I've done stuff like that, and I wouldn't want the worst 3 minutes of the worst fight I ever had with my spouse leaked on the internet. I've been married for 12 years. I have gotten in these fights with my husband. Thankfully, rarely, and honestly, not in about 10 years. Like, it's been like a really long time since we had a fight like this, but they have happened. And I've said really shitty things that if you just cut those out of context, I would look horrible. And he has said really shitty things that if you just cut those out of context, he would look horrible. And then you know what happens after that 3-minute clip? One and or both of us realizes that we're being an asshole. We realize that we're just hurt, and because we're hurt, we're trying to hurt the other person, and married people know how to hurt each other better than anyone else, and if you are not married, you do not understand. I am sorry, but you don't. If you're married to someone for an extended period of time, you know exactly what to say to hurt that person. So you realize that you're being an asshole, you apologize, you make up, you have make-up sex, and you go on with life. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened here. I don't know what happened here. I don't know what happened before the 3-minute clip. I don't know what happened after the 3-minute clip. And guess what? Neither do you. Neither does anyone. And it's just really intellectually dishonest to pretend that any of us know what happened. More on that in a second, but I just want to go to Naruto's super chat. Naruto, thank you. On our show tonight, Candace Owens called Dylan Mulvaney saying, I'm an adult, I'm 26 and human, a huge announcement. Oh, yeah, Dylan Mulvaney coming out of silence. I thought that, listen, man, you guys know I like Dylan Mulvaney. I think Dylan Mulvaney's entertaining. I think that Dylan Mulvaney's comeback video was just, I thought it was perfect. I thought it was exactly what she needed to do. Good for her. So I tweeted this. I quote tweeted Yasser Ali, and I said this, which I actually think is a pretty effing reasonable statement for a reasonable human being who has been in, I haven't been married 25 or 50 years or anything, but I think we're coming up on 12 years. Actually, I met my husband on May 14th, 2011. I know the exact date I met my husband. So we're coming up on 12 years that my husband and I have been together. So I'm going to call that a success. And we've had really bad fights and we've gotten over it. And guys, just so you know, if you tell me to call Dylan Mulvaney he, I will block you. You're not going to compel my language through social pressure. I will use whatever effing pronouns I want to use. It is not your decision which pronouns I use for Dylan Mulvaney. It is my decision which pronouns I use for Dylan Mulvaney, and you will not compel my speech. That's the last warning. I don't care what Dylan Mulvaney thinks. Ain't none of my business what Dylan Mulvaney thinks. So I quote tweeted that, which is a completely just Logical statement for anyone who's been married. And then Yasser Ali quote tweeted me. Yasser Ali, the man who released the article on Steven Crowder, decided to quote tweet me. And because I said that a 3-minute video is not the full video, and anyone who says that it is the full video is lying to you or trying to sell you a narrative, Yasser Ali says, yes, it's perfectly normal to demand that your wife, who is nearly 8 months pregnant, handle dog meds she is concerned are toxic for pregnant women. Totally normal to not let her use a car because you need to go work out. Totally normal to berate her for not performing wifely duties. Now, of course, Yasser Ali, because he is a leftist journalist, is completely deflecting from the point I'm making. He's not interacting with the point that a 3-minute clip cut out of context. Do you guys really think that that 3-minute clip is the only footage that they have? Why won't they show us the footage before it? Why won't they show us the footage after it? I want to see, you know what, Hillary? If you're going to fuck around with releasing stuff on the internet to try to smear people in conjunction with Candace Owens and the Daily Wire, which is my opinion, I'm allowed to have my opinion. I think it was in conjunction with the Daily Wire. If you're going to release a clip from a fight, why aren't you releasing the entire fight? I want to see it from start to finish. I don't think this is anyone's business. I don't think it ever should have gotten released in the first place. But since we're here, we're in this spot now. Inquiring minds want to know what happened prior to the 3-minute clip. And I want to see following the 3-minute clip as well. I want the entire interaction from the time those two end up in the same place till the time that Hillary runs out of the house, allegedly, because by the way, we didn't see that. We didn't see Steven Crowder saying, I'm going to fuck you up. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I just know that I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. And one would think that if they have security cameras in one part of the house, they probably have them in other parts of the house too. Am I supposed to take Yasser Ali's word for it when Yasser Ali has quote tweeted me on Twitter out to his like 750,000 followers? Am I supposed to take his word for it when he quote tweets me on Twitter and completely just deflects and doesn't even interact with the point that I'm making? Which you would think Yasser Ali is a world famous journalist. Yasser Ali is a world famous journalist. You would think that Yasser Ali would be intelligent enough to read a tweet and to be able to interact with the actual points in the tweet, not deflecting, not addressing the question that Yasser Ali wants to answer, which is not the question that I posed. Why are we calling a 3-minute clip cut out of context the full video? M-Ball, who I've never seen on this channel before, but I suppose welcome. You're just doing this for clicks and cash, right? No, I'm not. No. I'm doing this because I have been on the receiving end of smear campaigns before. I know what it feels like. I know what it's like. Better than a lot of people. To know what the truth is about a situation and to have no one care what the truth is. To have people take something from your life just completely out of context, not having any involvement in it at all, not understanding the people involved, not understanding the circumstances, and using it to twist it to be something it's not, and then to use that against you for the rest of your life. I know what that's like. I live that every single day. And so when I correctly, and I'm about 95% sure that I'm correct on this one, when I correctly identify that a smear campaign is happening to someone else, and Steven Crowder doesn't need my help. Steven Crowder doesn't need my defense. Steven Crowder is going to be fine. I know you guys think that Steven Crowder is not going to be fine and that this is going to ruin his career. It is not going to ruin his career. He is going to be absolutely fine. He really will. He might smart for a little while. I'm sure it's not fun to be him right now, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be fine. So he doesn't need my defense. I'm not doing this because I think he does. I'm doing this because I know what it's like to be on the receiving end of a smear campaign, and I know how much it sucks, and I think it's bullshit when it happens. And so if I correctly identify that it's happening to someone else, and my record on this is pretty clear, I'm going to speak up and say what I have to say about it. And people can listen or they don't have to. You don't have to be here, M Ball. No one invited you into my house. You subscribed for 5 minutes to be able to chat in. Congratulations, you made it. But you don't have to be here. If you don't want to listen to my thoughts on the topic, you can go somewhere else. It's really not that hard, bro. Chicken Canada says, "Hey, Carlin, I'm on Crowder's side too." I didn't start this on Crowder's side. I really didn't. I did not start it on his side at all. But the more that I've really thought about this situation, the more I have come around to, no matter how much of an asshole Crowder looked like on that video, and I do think that there's some questionable behavior, the rest of the people surrounding this situation, to include the fact that my very strong opinion is that this is a smear campaign being run by Candace Owens and the Daily Wire to get revenge on Steven Crowder for leaking those phone calls. My thoughts about the people running the smear campaign are much more significant than my thoughts about Steven Crowder behaving like an asshole in a private fight with his wife, which, not good behavior, but anyone who's married and has been in a long-term relationship knows what that is. Emphasize, here's some clicks and cash. You know what, Emphasize? Maybe you and I are coming back together over all this. I do appreciate it. See, is it so hard, Emphasize, to send me a super chat and not troll me? Is it so hard? Did that kill you? Can we just have like normal interactions of like audience and whatever the heck I am on any given day, streamer, I suppose, who the hell knows? Let me just scroll through the chat real quick. Yes, exactly. They're trying to Eliza Blue Steven Crowder. That's exactly right. And for those who don't know my history, I came out in support of Eliza Blue as well. And I was so turned off by every single influencer who took advantage of that situation. You can go back and watch the streams. They're all on the channel. So Yasser Ali quote tweeted me, and this actually turned into something really, really interesting, because when Yasser Ali quote tweeted me out to his 750,000 followers, I started, predictably getting a lot of replies in my Twitter feed. Chicken Canada, I'm married 12 years too. Candace is in on it. Yes, she is. My opinion, not a fact. Could be wrong. Expressing an opinion. I don't want to get Candace's ugly cease and desist letter. If I did get a cease and desist letter, I would tell her to shove it up her ass. But it is just my opinion. Candace is in on it, in my opinion. She's too happy, too gleeful. Anyway, so I started getting a lot of replies in my Twitter feed when Yasser Ali quote tweeted me. And they all basically said the same thing. I won't even bore you guys with what they were. They were all leftists. They were all saying, "So you condone abusive relationships." Some of them said, "She's obviously in a shitty marriage and she's just not smart enough to know she's in an abusive marriage, so she won't leave her awful husband." I had leftists with over 100,000 Twitter followers commenting on the state of my marriage, which they, of course, know nothing about. and it's just fine, by the way. My husband is sleeping because he's going hiking tomorrow, but, we just watched a movie, I promise, I'm not getting divorced today. So I had these leftists with over 100,000 Twitter followers saying, "She's obviously in an abusive marriage." Because correctly pointed out that a 3-minute clip cut out of context is not the full video. And as this was happening, and as I was sitting downstairs, I was knitting, trying to watch the movie with my husband, but of course, I just can't turn away from the sideshow that never ends. As I started seeing all these messages of all these influencers saying that I'm obviously in a horrible abusive relationship and I just don't know it because, obviously my marriage is so horrible and abusive because I point out that married people fight and sometimes they have really bad fights. And if you take a 3-minute clip out of any fight that any married couple has, I promise you, one and or both people are going to look like assholes. Because I correctly pointed that out, I'm now being diagnosed on Twitter as having a failing, dysfunctional, abusive marriage and being told by leftists on the internet that I really need to leave. And so I was looking at this happen on Twitter as we were trying to watch our movie, and I was like, do you know how we know that all of these influencers are lying about Steven Crowder? Do you know how emphatically we know that these people are full of shit? That they are taking something that is advantageous and using it to their advantage because it's there, not because they're interested in the truth, not because they care about abusive relationships, not because they give two shits about Hillary Crowder at all. And if Hillary Crowder really thinks these people care about her, where the hell has she been the entire time she's been married to Steven Crowder? Did she learn nothing? So I was watching this happen and it dawned on me. I'm like, you expect me to believe that outrage junkies on the internet, people who very literally spend their entire days as reply guys on Twitter, people who proactively smear people all the time. You expect me to believe that outrage junkies on Twitter have completely emotionally healthy relationships? You expect me to believe that I should be taking advice on the health of my marriage from unmarried Twitter influencers who spend all day being pissed off, and you expect me to believe that if I went through the private security footage of every single one of those influencers and maybe even looked at their private videos on their phones that their friends had taken of them, you expect me to believe that I can't find a single 3-minute clip of any single one of them where they're saying something or doing something that make them look like a total and complete asshole that is emotionally abusive of the people around them? Really? You expect me to believe that these people have healthy marriages where they've never had a fight? I actually had people in my Twitter feed tonight saying, I've been married for 25 years and we have never had an argument or a disagreement. I just don't know what you're talking about. Bullshit. That's not real. I'm sorry. Either those people are lying to themselves and they truly believe that they have never said or done anything that could be cut out of context for 3 minutes and twisted to mean something. You expect either they're lying to themselves and they really believe that, or they're just lying. One of those two things is true. There has not been a single marriage that has lasted an extended period of time, let's say like 10 plus years, in which there has not been one single fight in which you can't clip something out of context for 3 minutes and make that person look like an asshole. If a 20-year marriage is squeaky clean, then both parties are lying on a daily and they don't even know it. I think that that is a really, really insightful comment. If your marriage never has any problems in it, then you're like, if you really believe that, you're lying to yourself. I'm sorry. That's not the way life works. And anyone who has been married knows that. Well, as I have repeatedly said, I question the car thing. I question the grocery shopping thing. I don't believe that Steven Crowder looked like a good guy in that video. I think there are a lot of problems in that video. I think Steven Crowder looks like a control freak in that video. But regardless, that doesn't matter because we don't know what happened leading up to that 3-minute clip, and we don't know what happened after that 3-minute clip. So these are moot points. Talking points for family therapy, sure. Talking points for couples counseling, sure. Yeah, why was there only one car? Why did Steven have such issues with her using it? Why is he freaking out over the dog food and not just doing it his damn self? Why is he acting like a control freak? These are all very, very fair questions. Steven Crowder is not a perfect person. Guess what? Neither are you. Neither am I. I'm a deeply flawed human being. Neither is anyone else on the internet. If the standard that you are holding people to is perfection at all times, I'm sorry to tell you that you will be grossly disappointed. So while I don't think that Steven Crowder behaved well, that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is we don't know what else happened. We have no idea. Talk about that a little bit more. Desert Celebrant Natalie, who is Broker Natalie on Twitter, buy the 4-bedroom with the pool. Love you, Natalie. You know, Natalie, my cousin lives in Palm Desert, and I used to go out to Palm Springs actually pretty regularly. So maybe next time I'm out there, we'll have to grab a cocktail or something at Lulu's. We have to go to Lulu's to go to the all day brunch with the gays. It'd be fantastic. All right, so you know that all these people are lying because they're all fucking addicted to outrage. And you're telling me that someone can spend all day outraged on Twitter and all day reply guying on Twitter and all day writing hit pieces on their political enemies and all day plotting against their political enemies and all day just generally being awful human beings, like really, really awful human beings. And you're telling me that these people have never done anything that could end up on a video clipped out of context for 3 minutes long? I don't think so. You're going to tell me that Candace Owens has never been in a fight with her British aristocrat husband, who I'm sorry is probably an extremely weak man because he's married to Candace Owens. And listen, man, some men are just like they're meant to. I'm a strong woman, okay? I'm not like in some, I get it, I get it. But I can't imagine anyone being married to Candace Owens like in real life. I can't. Maybe she's a completely different person in her personal life. Who knows? But in my head, the fight between Candace Owens and her husband would be completely one-sided and it ain't going to be run by her husband. You know what I'm saying? You want to show me a 3-minute clip from Candace Owens' private security footage of her fighting with her husband? What do you think that's going to look like? So the fact that these influencers are honestly and with a straight face saying, we can never condone such emotional abuse. And this 3-minute video is it is proof that Steven Crowder is a monster. No, it's not. It is proof that Steven Crowder and his wife had problems in their marriage that sadly, whatever they were doing for couples counseling or anything like that, it wasn't helping. I'm sure the fact that she was 8 months pregnant didn't help anything, not excusing Crowder's behavior because he should have to account for that behavior. It wasn't good, but that was a failing marriage. And that's a sad thing. And I don't believe for one red second that Yasser Ali is the paragon of virtue that would never have a video like that. I don't believe for one red second that the leftists currently inundating my Twitter feed telling me that I'm in a dysfunctional relationship when, by the way, most of the people who are reply guying to me right now have never even been married. I'm sorry. I will take marital advice from a couple that has been married for like 50 years and they're having a happy marriage, or I'll take marital advice from a couple that's been married for 30 years or 25 years. They're happy in their marriage. You know what? I want to be with my husband for the rest of my life. Tell me what to do, you know? I will take marital advice from people who have actually had successful marriages. Do you know who I'm not going to take marital advice from? I'm not going to take it from unmarried leftist reply guy outrage junkies on Twitter. And that's who's pushing this story. Those are the people that are reeing about this. And I've seen this on the right too. I've seen people on the right comment on it that have never been married. Now, I'm not saying that unmarried people can't have opinions on it. I suppose you can, but don't tell me that you understand what you were looking at, because I promise you, you don't. And I have the right to discard opinions of people who I just do not find credible at all. So the more I've been thinking about this, the more it only makes sense that this is a smear campaign against Steven Crowder. And, you know, it's a shame because this is why we can't have nice things, you know? The internet only seeks to destroy. The internet has been a net negative for all of humanity. I really believe that. The internet, social media, like it is so powerful and it can be used for such good, but when you start integrating human beings into this, we are such deeply flawed creatures that we only know how to destroy ourselves. People are getting off on this. You shouldn't get off on a failing marriage. Like, I'm sorry, if you're getting off and celebrating Steven Crowder's failing marriage because you got to own him, you're a shitty fucking human being. I don't know. What do you guys think? Chat in. Let me know. Please mount that like button if you feel so inclined. I don't think I'm going to be. Don't worry about it, Natalie. I'm not going to be up long, but I usually stay up to like 3, 4 a.m. anyway. So, like, still early, girl. We haven't even gotten started yet. I don't know if I'm going to stream that long because I really don't have much else to say, to be honest. Yeah, someone was really adamant about hurting Crowder's reputation. I'd much prefer if I never heard any of this. I agree. I really do agree. There are studies showing that the digital age has made people very unhappy starting in the 50s with the invention of the TV. I believe it. So I started being kind of a bitch on Twitter tonight. Can I show you guys what I did? I was I was such a bitch. It was bad. It was, it's Friday. And so what I started doing to these people who are coming into my Twitter feed is I started just taking pictures of them that I found on the internet. And this woman is a leftist journalist with over 100,000 followers that said she blocked me. She accidentally blocked me now, so you can't see what she said. I guess I could put it in a different browser. I mean, it's such a shame that she accidentally blocked me. But she came and said that I was obviously in a dysfunctional, abusive marriage and that I should leave my husband ASAP. I was like, "No, it's not gonna happen." And then so she started talking about how great her marriage was, and I was like, "Well, mine's pretty great too." And then I went and found her photos on Instagram, and I retweeted them, and I said, "Seriously, you're gonna tell me that this woman has never gotten into a fight with her husband? Like, really? You're gonna tell me that this woman has never gotten into a fight with her husband? Really? No serious person believes this woman has never gotten into a fight with her husband. Like, that's not real life. You're gonna tell me that I can't find a 3-minute clip of this woman looking like a total and complete see you next Tuesday? I bet I can. I bet I can. I bet I can find a clip of her looking like a bitch. Absolutely. Oh, where did I have to scroll again? So then this guy came into my feed and I retweeted his photo and I said, "We have no evidence that this guy didn't beat his spouse." Because really, if we're just making shit up now, if our policy is going to be that we're just making shit up when we have no evidence for what happened. I don't know that he didn't beat his spouse. Can anyone prove to me that he didn't beat his spouse? Do you know what we should do, guys, to prove that this guy didn't beat his spouse? We should go through all of his private home security footage. And we should just watch all of it. Better safe than sorry. You're going to tell me he doesn't look like someone that could, you know, say something out of turn? Try to really go for the jugular. It's not like he's reply guying on Twitter or anything. It's not like he's trying to be emotionally abusive and gaslight total strangers on the internet or anything. Am I supposed to believe that someone who is proactively gaslighting and trying to emotionally manipulate strangers on the internet for kicks on a Friday night, am I supposed to believe they've never done that in a relationship? I mean, if you want to believe that, that's up to you. And then I had this person. This person was a hoot because this person had their profile as this picture as their IG profile. You're going to tell me this person is in a happy functional marriage with that as an Instagram profile picture? I'm going to say no, I don't believe that. That guy again. And then I tricked this guy into it. I tricked him into admitting he was single because of course he's single. Of course he's not married. Of course he's never been married, but commenting on other people's marriages and how they work out. Okay, well, everyone's allowed to have an opinion. Then this one even said, "I will just say I'm divorced," and this struck a nerve. I don't care what went on before that 3-minute video clip, but degrading and condescending behavior isn't really justifiable. So this one who has admitted that she was in a failed marriage, which I actually think is worse than being single, if we're honest about it, is now commenting on the veracity of other people's marriages. And you're telling me that we know this one was divorced. We know that. Do you really think I can't find a 3-minute video clip of this bitch if I had all the private security footage in her house that makes her look like she's the problem? Do you really think just look at the picture. You can surmise a lot from a picture. Do you really think that she didn't contribute to what led up to her divorce? Again, we're all allowed to have our opinions. This person then said they were married for 20 years. I kind of find that hard to believe with anonymous people on the internet with profile pictures of that, but maybe I could be wrong. definitely a healthy relationship if this person has been married for 20 years. I'm sure that there's absolutely nothing underhanded going on in that relationship. Mhm. And then Chad Felix Green chimed in, and I have to say, Chad Felix Green is basically like one of the most boring people I've ever interacted with in my life. So I just threw out the whole, we have no proof that he never beat his spouse. Perhaps we should review all the private security footage from his home. I'm sure he's never done anything for 3 minutes that would make him look like an asshole. You guys get the point I'm making? All of these people, all of these people, if you caught them on their worst moment, in the worst fight they've had in their relationship, they're gonna look exactly like Steven Crowder. Maybe they're gonna use different words, they're gonna use different tactics, they're gonna say different things. But if you catch anyone in the worst moment of the worst fight of their extended marriage, you can make anyone look like an asshole. So I wanna see more video. If we're gonna release video anyway, I wanna see more video. But we will never see more video because we got the worst possible 3-minute clip that Hillary Crowder and her lawyers, her divorce lawyers, could come up with. And you're going to tell me this is how I should judge a person by a 3-minute clip of one of the worst moments of their life? Nah. I'm not going to call a person a monster because they had a bad moment, because every single person has had bad moments. Every single one of you will have bad moments. If you're married for 10 years, I promise you, you're going to have one or two really bad moments. And hopefully not more than that. Hopefully it's only once or twice and you make up and you work through it and you have really great makeup sex and you move on with your life, okay? Well, the thing is, Lori, we don't know that Steven Crowder did that. I didn't hear Steven Crowder say that on that video. You didn't hear Steven Crowder say that on that video. We didn't hear him say that. I haven't heard Steven Crowder admit to saying that. What I have seen is Yasser Ali, avowed leftist, claiming in text on the screen that Steven Crowder said that, but I didn't see any video of that. Where was that video? And what did she say before that? What did she say before that to make him say that? I shouldn't say make him say that. That's going to get clipped out of context. But did she say anything before that that may have provoked that type of anger? I don't know. But I know that when married people are in fights, they say things they don't mean. They say things that are really horrible. No, you did not see that because it was not in the video. Oh, so we believe Candace Owens. Okay, so now that's just completely uncredible, Lori. I'm sorry. Completely uncredible. Has anyone seen any interesting reactions to this? I've got one of a video that Tim Pool did about it pulled up. I thought maybe I could watch it. I haven't watched Tim Pool in like forever. Has anyone had an interesting reaction to this that I should watch just while we're here among friends live on the internet? Beefy McWhatnot, I'd love to see Dr. Carlin and Jordan Peterson debate. I don't know about that. He's gotten so angry. And listen, I have moments of being angry. I understand why Jordan Peterson is angry. I really do. But I don't know about that. Should I watch the Tim Pool video to see what he said? I really haven't watched it. I have no idea. What do you guys think? So what was Cassandra's reaction? Where did she react? On Twitter? Well, Chad Felix Green was judging my marriage because I have a different opinion than his. So no, I'm going to say that he's not a pretty great guy, Jonathan. Nope. I'm going to say that Chad Felix Green probably beats his husband because we have no proof that he doesn't. It's just an opinion. I don't know, if we can just make shit up out of nowhere that has no basis in reality because we're hypothesizing what could exist if we had access to all of the video that Chad Felix Green has on the security cameras in his house, since we're just allowed to make shit up. Nathaniel, I am supposed to be in bed. Hope you're having a good evening, Carlin. I am having a good evening. Thank you, Nathaniel. Just letting you know I just got your book. Yay! Hope to get the chance to read it soon. I do appreciate it. Looking forward to hearing what you think, Nathaniel. Thank you. Let's see. Did anyone ever answer what Cassandra Fairbanks' reaction was? All right. Well, let me get the Tim Pool video pulled up. I do have it somewhere. Hang on one sec. Or I had it somewhere. Oh, there it is. There it is. Different browser. Let me see what Timmy said. Let me see what Timmy. God, I can't believe I'm doing this. Hang on. Loading. Do you remember what it was? I'm honestly curious. I'm honestly curious. Was she on Crowder's side or not on Crowder's side? What did she say? I'm curious about her reaction, but I also don't know the politics behind it and what she thinks of people. Okay, let's see. Let's see what Timmy Tim said. Journalist leaks footage of Steven Crowder in fight with his wife. Disgusting. Well, we agree on that, Tim. I agree with Tim on that. We've already got progress. Okay, that's good. She was on Hillary's side? Well, can't agree with everyone on everything. Okay, let's watch.
Ali, journalist, published footage from Steven Crowder's home with his wife because they're going through a divorce. And I don't think this should be published. I think Yashar Ali was wrong to publish this. I don't think it should be discussed. But the issue is the video's got 500,000 views. The tweet itself, I think, has 2 million views. So I'm interested in talking about, to a certain degree, what it is, because it is a thing people are watching, but more so the ethics of why this should not be a thing and how I think it's being weaponized against Steven Crowder. So to put it simply, there's a few big stories.
Oh, Tim and I, hell hath frozen over. Tim and I might actually agree on something. What a nice surprise.
Right now. One, you may have seen Steven Crowder put out a video where he said that he's going through a divorce. It's horrendous. And that I think he said he's being extorted. Is that what he said?
He implied, right?
Did he say extorted or?
He said, if you know what extortion is, like this is what it feels like or something like that.
Now the media, Daily Beast reports Steven Crowder's extortion war with Candace Owens it blows up. And I'm wondering, how is it that Steven Crowder's divorce has become something for like Yashar to publish? Why is it news? It's ridiculous.
It's not news.
Because the left hates Steven Crowder.
Because the left hates Steven Crowder. Yeah. And so this is a huge opportunity for them to attack him, to accuse him of wrongdoing.
Well, and not just the left. Not just the left. The left are not the only people who hate Steven Crowder. Candace Owens hates Steven Crowder. Jeremy Boring hates Steven Crowder. The Daily Wire hates Steven Crowder. And Candace Candace admitted that she knew that something was coming out, but claimed she didn't know what before it was actually released. So the left aren't the only people who are weaponizing this. And I think we can all acknowledge that.
And then you get this video that I'm not going to play. I know a lot of people want me to play it. People were commenting like, you got to play the video. People are mad at crap.
Hang on. I'm sorry. Lori, you are full of shit. Okay? You are obviously hearing things. This is why you don't listen to people on the internet, guys. Lori, you are hearing things that were not said in the video. It wasn't removed. It wasn't there and then got edited away. We have watched the entire video from Yasser Ali several times. That wasn't said. It was put in text on the screen. So stop lying. You didn't see it. You are either lying or you are delusional. If you saw it, then point me to a source right now that has the full video. Point me to one single source, Lori. Find that video that you claim to have seen where you actually heard him say it. I will watch it live on the stream right now. Otherwise, stop lying. Nope, wasn't edited. Was not edited. See, guys, here is the thing. No, okay, then provide us with the proof, Lori. Provide us with the proof. Because here's the thing, guys. This is why I am so, adamant about speaking up when I see a smear campaign. Do you guys know how many people on Twitter have told me that I'm married to a pedophile? Tonight. Do you know why they think I'm married to a pedophile? Because someone else spread a smear campaign about me. The Walkaway campaign and Mike Harlow from the Walkaway campaign spread a smear campaign about me because he went 20 years into my history to find my college boyfriend who pled guilty to a crime that I know he did not commit because there were reasons that he had to do it because he was being railroaded by the government, went to jail for a really long time, and I refused to denounce him because I don't think he committed that crime. I had nothing to do with it at all. I married my husband while he was in prison, and I get told every single day of my life that I'm married to a pedophile because of a smear campaign that people like you, Lori, saw something about and believe and didn't bother to look into it and didn't bother to understand what the truth was, never bothered to even ask the question. And then people like you continue to spread it around the internet, smearing and doxing an innocent person who has suffered a lot, also smearing my husband who had nothing to do with any of it, and continuing to tell me who I am and not married to every single day of my life. This is why you don't spread smear campaigns. I know what that's like. My family knows what that's like. My friends know what that's like. When I see a smear campaign being spread and people like you are saying, but I saw it, it was real, but no, every video on the internet is somehow magically edited to not have the thing that you're claiming is real. Do you guys understand that these are real people with real lives? Stop spreading bullshit around the internet.
Crowder, dude, I will not fall for a 20-second out of context clip. I'm not playing that game. That's what I want to say about this. To everybody who's seen this video, you've got Steven Crowder's wife. She's very pregnant. They're arguing, I guess, over a car or something. Like, I was surprised to learn that Crowder, his family has one car.
Or supposedly.
Supposedly,
I don't know.
right.
Do we know that for sure?
Exactly. Because like when I hear the story that Crowder's fighting with his wife because he wants to use the car and he doesn't want her to use the car, I'm kind of like,
maybe the other car's in the shop.
Maybe. But Crowder seems like the kind of guy who would have 3, maybe 4 or 5 cars.
Maybe a collection he doesn't want to tell anyone about.
Yeah, no, I mean, more, But what I want to say about the video clip is a few questions. One, how did Yasser Ali get 3 minutes of video footage of Crowder, quote, being emotionally abusive to his wife?
From
wife.
Crowder's house.
From
Yeah.
Crowder's
Yeah.
house.
His ring.
So who is recording this? They have a Ring camera in there. I mean, this is crazy. Audio and video recorded in his house. And what bothers me about this is, man, I'm reluctant to say what I think, but I think Crowder is being set up.
Yes.
I mean, he wouldn't post that footage.
Yes, he is.
Right.
Himself.
That means somebody knew the footage was available, shared it with the press, and who could that have been?
I mean, it is like it is possible that someone at Ring, but I mean, I
doubt it.
I think
I
that
think-
All right, dude. I'm just
likely.
gonna say it. Come on, man.
Who do you think? Do you think
His
that-
wife.
You
Yeah.
think she's
He's getting divorced. So who?
And he said it's become increasingly hostile. Like, I wonder if this is actually something that got submitted to the court.
Now, I don't want to accuse. I don't know that she did. I'm just saying Crowder in this video. He's not going to release that footage.
Well,
No,
if it was hacked footage, either of them, I would assume, would be upset by that
True.
and would say
Yep.
it. Or they might both say it. Be like, hey, we're having.
It was released along with a statement from Hillary's family. It came from Hillary Crowder, and it came more accurately, probably, from Hillary Crowder's divorce lawyers. The whole thing was orchestrated by Hillary Crowder, Hillary Crowder's family, and Hillary Crowder's divorce lawyers. And to be quite frank, it would not surprise me if Hillary Crowder's divorce lawyers talked her into it, because divorce lawyers are incentivized to make things as ridiculous as possible, because the more ridiculous the divorce gets, especially with really wealthy couples, the more ridiculous the effing divorce gets, the more money they make. So Hillary Crowder's divorce lawyers had an incentive to talk Hillary Crowder into releasing this footage to make the whole thing as ridiculous as possible, which is going to make them more money. It came from Hillary Crowder's divorce lawyers. I don't know why this is so hard.
Issues, but our cameras in our home
Where our children
were
live.
hacked, where our children are.
Yeah.
Like, this is an issue. We're going to sue Ring, and it's going to be a thing. Like, but I don't think that's happened. They haven't said that.
No.
Mm-mm.
So
It's
You know,
really
I want to say something too that's kind of crazy is people are acting like this video is really bad, and it's not. So basically his wife says, we're at an impasse. I love you, but I need some time. And then she accuses him. She says something about his abuse, and he says, watch it. And like, that's basically it. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be mad about. They're just,
people want to be mad. They want to be
Yeah.
mad.
And it's actually
Yeah, I'm
impossible
not-
to judge because we don't know them. Like, we don't know them on this level. I mean, it's something that I think as a culture, especially women, are increasingly aware of. Like, you need to be careful about the dynamics you put yourself in. And like, I do know people who have been in really controlling relationships where like only having one car is a part of that. But
Mhm.
I don't know the Crowders well enough to have any context to believe that's where this comes from, right? Like,
Mhm.
it's I think hard not to read in. You have to be careful not to read your own experience into it. Like,
Right.
if you have been in a dangerous situation, you might see it. But if you
I think that's a really good point, because one of the things that I keep hearing over and over and over and over and over again from women especially is, I was in a abusive relationship, this triggered me, therefore it must be true. Okay, well, I'm sorry you were in an abusive relationship. That's awful. I feel for that. I really do. But just because you were in an abusive relationship does not mean that this is what you think it is, because you are emotionally invested in the situation. Now, it might be, it also might not be. We don't know what it is, because we don't have anything more than 3 minutes of video. So I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but what I am saying is someone who has an emotional connection to the issue is going to be more likely to project their own experiences onto what's happening, and that means they are an inaccurate judge of what it actually is.
haven't, you may not. It doesn't mean, like, it's hard to know
Like,
what it is.
I remember I was hanging out with some friends of mine. This is probably like 6 years ago, and I heard how they talked to each other, and I was like, man, I don't know if I like that. I'm not gonna talk to my wife that way. And then over the years, as I got to know them, I was like, oh, this is kind of how they joke around with each other and say stuff. Now, I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but like a lot of people, especially people commenting on this, are they married? Are they in a relationship? Do they actually know what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I want to say, like, I'm actually shockingly impressed by Tim's like commentators here. I'm not like, I don't watch the show, so I have no idea who they are or anything, but like, they're actually making some good points, and I'm actually used to seeing Tim surround himself with stupid people to make himself look smarter. And so it's kind of nice. There are a couple young people that actually know what they're talking about. Kudos. Well done. So I think the point about like, are you married? Are you married? Like, why are you even talking about this if you're not married? Okay, everyone is allowed to have an opinion about everything. Fine. You are allowed to have an opinion about whatever you want. But if you're not effing married, you don't understand. I am sorry. You don't understand. So you're allowed to have an opinion, but I'm also allowed to say, are you married? Have you been married for how long was Crowder married? Like 10 years? Were you married for 10 years? What's been your longest term relationship? Because if your longest term relationship is a couple of months because every single time you get into a fight, you break up with the person instead of working through it, guys, one of the measures of how you know you are ready to be in an adult big kid relationship is that you work through your problems instead of running away and hiding. You are never going to have a successful marriage if you run away every single time you have a disagreement, every single time you have a fight. That is part of life. It is the way it goes. And you have to learn how to look at yourself and your contribution and say, you know what, I was a dick. And I don't like the way that made me feel, and I don't like what that did to my relationship, and I value my relationship, and I'm going to learn from that, and I'm not going to do that shit again. Emphasize gaslighting to create a false Mandela effect to create a narrative. I saw it, yeah, what Yasser wrote, not what Steven said in the video. That's exactly right, emphasize. See, again, emphasize, this is so much nicer. Let's do this all the time, all right? Let's just, be normal. Just because Yasser Ali says something happened doesn't mean it actually happened. And it doesn't mean there weren't things that contributed to it. What if, and again, this is just conjecture, I'm just doing a hypothesis, this is not real, I'm not saying this happened. What if Hillary Crowder, after they went in the house, said to Steven Crowder, fuck you, Steven, I'm taking the kids as soon as they're born and I'm leaving and I'm moving in with that guy that I've been seeing that you're so worried about, and go fuck yourself, I'm done. What if that is what Hillary Crowder said to Steven Crowder? And in response to that, Steven Crowder said, I will fuck you up, because he was angry and shocked and pissed off. And Hillary Crowder had said the worst possible thing that she could say to him and hit every single button that she could possibly have hit. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened. I don't know what happened. That's the point. None of us know what happened. But there are absolutely instances when pregnant women can be pissed off and say really hurtful things for the explicit purpose to hurt, because they are hurt, they are scared, the marriage was obviously on the rocks anyway. It's not out of the realm of possibility that something like that could happen. It is not a pleasant thing to think about, but this is what happened when married people fight. And it's awful. And it shouldn't happen. And when you do it, you feel awful. Yeah, this is a great point too. There are several ways, hang on. There are several ways to mean fuck you up. There really are. So I'm not suggesting that it's good, and I'm not suggesting that it's something to celebrate. I'm simply saying that there could have been something that happened that we don't know about and that they're not admitting that could lead to an outburst like that, because people are human beings and it's the way it goes.
They have experience.
I'll probably get in trouble to some degree for saying my opinions on this, because I think it's a stupid story that shouldn't be published. But when I see camera footage released that's got a 20-second clip that makes someone like Crowder look bad, and then I'll just put it this way. If there was a recording of, say, like let's say Phil Labonte was accused of wrongdoing.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden a recording emerges. And I'm like, hello there, Phil. Tell me about that time you bought illegal drugs. And then Phil's like, what are you talking about? You know, the illegal drugs you bought. Tell me. You'd kind of assume that someone was intending on that recording existing for purposes of implicating the other person. So when I see this, and again, without accusing anybody, because I don't know, when I see this and someone says, let me tell you about your abuse, Stephen, I'm like, hey, are you what?
Mhm.
Do people talk like that? Like, it's a very specific thing to say to someone, and then Crowder clearly reacts negatively to it. He says, watch it, and then he says, effing watch it. And my response to that is like, dude, if someone walked up to me in my room and accused me of something as serious as that, I might be like, excuse me? No, get out. Like, I'm not having that conversation because that's not true. That's not fair. What are you saying?
Yeah.
Worse still, somebody leaked the footage to Yashar Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, anything.
Tim's right.
At this
Tim is right. This is why it's so important to know, if we're going to accurately judge this, to know what happened. And I'm not saying, guys, I am not saying that you need to come down on Steven Crowder's side. You could still judge and say, you know what? He's an asshole. He's always been an asshole. He's a control freak, which I think is true. He has issues and he needs to go to therapy for. Okay, fine. I'm not suggesting that you can't judge Steven Crowder. I'm saying, or I'm not, excuse me, I'm not suggesting that you need to take Steven Crowder's side. What I am saying is that you can withhold an opinion and say, I don't know what happened. And if I don't know what happened, I'm not going to try to end someone's career. Like, doesn't it seem like, would you want a mob of hundreds of thousands, millions of people to try to be ending your career and everything that you know and everything that you've worked for because they think they know something happened, but they don't have any direct proof because they only have a 3-minute clip of something that is the worst possible thing that you could have done on video? I mean, truly, guys, think about this for a second. Would you want a mob of people, of millions of people, to be proactively trying to end your career and everything that you have ever worked for because of a 3-minute clip of you looking like an asshole that was circulated on the internet?
point, with the way the culture war is going, anybody that is a prominent figure on the right, it is every opportunity that someone on the left can take to
Not just people on the
to
left.
knock you down or to smear you.
Daily
Yeah.
They're
Wire.
going to take. It's something that people that are
Oh yeah.
that are on the right that they have to be aware of.
Well,
Oh, okay. So fair point. People are mentioning that's just a Twitter clip. There's a 3-minute clip, and he says a lot worse things. He says, "I'm going to f you up," and so
He
fair
doesn't
point.
say that.
Like, he should not have done that, right?
Again, this is another example. He didn't say that in the clip. This is why you don't spread smear campaigns. He did not say that in the clip. We have no evidence at all that that happened. That was put out there by Yasser Ali. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. We don't know. But now someone has chatted that into Tim Pool because they're passing on information that they never saw, they never heard, because they listened to a smear campaign from a leftist journalist. And now Tim Pool has said it on his show. Well, I guess that's happened and that was really shitty. So now that's going to spread all over the fucking internet. Do you guys see how this works? They want you to do this. This is what they want. They want all of us to be so stupid that we imagine things are true that aren't true because they give us a 3-minute out of context clip and they let our brains and our imaginations do the rest. And then we spread all sorts of bullshit around the internet about each other. And the left is laughing the entire effing time. The establishment is laughing the entire effing time. because they win. They win. We sacrifice Steven Crowder on the altar of the establishment and then I'll bicker among ourselves because of a 3-minute out of context clip that people are making shit up about all over the fucking internet. Who are we going to sacrifice next week? We already sacrificed Elijah Blue. I got sacrificed a long time ago. Thank God mine was actually like, you know, it's still out there to this day. I got sacrificed a long time ago. I'm not effective in this anymore. I can teach you guys about what I know, but I can't actually do anything because I got sacrificed on the altar of bullshit. And thank God you guys let me teach you stuff, you know? I'm glad to be able to have that role. But I can never do anything beyond that. I can be a private person or I can teach you stuff, and that's basically it, because I got sacrificed on the altar of bullshit of people spreading a smear campaign around about me all over the fucking place. Who else is going to get sacrificed? Elijah Schaefer has been sacrificed on the altar of bullshit. You know? I have my issues with Elijah. I really do. I think he's way too far right, but like maybe he wouldn't have been pushed that way if he hadn't been sacrificed on the altar of bullshit. How many more people need to get sacrificed? Who's it going to be next? You know? Who knows?
Yeah. I think it's
I haven't watched the full thing.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I think it's really hard because saying really nasty things one time, like, does that constitute being an abusive person, or is it just you lost control in this one moment, right? Like, we have no way to know what the pattern of their relationship is, and that's why it's hard to see this stuff online, because like they have children, the internet is forever. Is this one terrible fight for a couple that's already falling apart, or is this a pattern of behavior that it's hard for the public to wrap their heads around because he is a public figure?
Well, and this could be another issue of, I mean, often, not always, but in relationships, it's not always just one person at fault. It can be both people are at fault. Kind of like how wars happen. It's not always a good guy and a bad guy. Sometimes it's just two kind of bad guys duking it out. So I just think that's a whole nother, again, there's just not enough context to know. But I also know, and maybe this is maybe a little bit of personal experience. I've been married for 2 years now. Being in a position like he's in, of constant criticism under a microscope at all times, like that can put stress on a marriage.
I want to stress this too. I didn't watch the 3 minute. I didn't realize Yasha released the entire 3.5 minutes. I watched the clip on Twitter, and when I opened up the article on my phone, the video wasn't there. Like, I didn't see the video there until just now. So that's my mistake. So I apologize for that. He snaps at her saying, "Watch it, effing watch it. I will F you up," which led to his wife fleeing their home. So, like, I think it's
not in the video, Tim. Tim Pool, journalist. Not in the video. Emphasize, I'm sticking to my comment last night. They were on the same page. Empaths, call someone to come get her, call an Uber. She was power playing him. I don't think she was power playing him. They were cohesive. She drank woke feminist Kool-Aid. I don't agree with that, Emphasize. I don't agree with that at all. I mean, they both said they were at an impasse, fine, but I don't agree with the rest of it, but you're welcome to your opinion. Thank you for the super chat.
Bad. And I'm like, the issue I take with it is it's personal, private stuff. If Crowder did wrong, he's paying the price for it. The only reason it's news is because Crowder is a prominent figure who's challenging the establishment, and they know that they can take him down with something like this. They've been waiting for something like this. If Crowder did something wrong in this moment, he should apologize for being wrong and doing a wrong thing.
Make things right to her.
But the purpose of this is to cause political and PR damage to a prominent individual who is challenging the machine.
It's just to smear. It's pure culture war. It's just smearing Crowder because he's on the right. That's all it is. It's unfortunate, but that's the
it's a war.
Yeah,
it's the world.
Well, and it doesn't make like the way he's talking to her okay. It just means if he were a private citizen, it would still be wrong.
This happens.
It wouldn't be
all the
weaponized
time.
this way.
This is happening 1,000 other times in America, somewhere else with other people. all over. No one will know about it, talk about it, don't care.
Yep.
They only care because it's him.
That's a really good point. Like I said, none of the people who are engaging in this actually care about Hillary Crowder. They don't care about abusive relationships. Most of them spend their entire effing lives acting abusive towards other people. If you're constantly participating in cancel culture, don't tell me you care sincerely about helping people not be abused and bullied. You are the fucking abuser, motherfucker. If you engage in cancel culture, you are the abuser. You are the bully. Don't tell me you're so concerned. You're not. King Peter, this is what post-truth and my truth looks like. Yeah, I think that's really correct, Peter. Thank you.
And her. in this case.
Absolutely. So,
Sorry. I just feel bad for their kids, right? Because like,
Oh yeah.
obviously this seems contentious, seems horrible. Divorce is so difficult for children as it is, but like,
How many kids they have?
I don't know.
Actually, no.
Two.
Do they?
Well, she's pregnant in the clip.
Yeah, they
so
had
like there's
twins.
one on the way. Twins.
There's a lot of really serious accusations in here, and like my view is just this: I don't care to condemn someone because a clip, even the 3.5 minute one. I read the quote where he said that and stuff like that, and it's like, man, to take 3 minutes of someone's life and then condemn them over that without knowing everything else.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
Unless
Tim.
there was like serious, like let's say he got up and started beating, that'd be different. Because then it'd be like,
I'd
okay,
be like,
that's pretty
holy
obvious.
crap,
Like,
that should
right
be
there.
reported
But
to
I
police.
think that's like one of the issues that so many people have about abuse, like the way people talk about abuse, is because like if like someone punched me in the face, right, we would all agree
Oh,
that's been not okay. But if you are constantly in a place where you're like in fear because of the way you're being treated, the way you're talking to, like being talked to, stuff like that, like that is psychologically damaging. It's just
That is psychologically damaging. She's right. The problem is we don't know if that happened here. Guys, okay, so my dissertation was on workplace bullying. I studied workplace bullying for 10 years. I work with targets of workplace bullying. I helped organizations. I did consulting with organizations around workplace bullying. I have worked with some of the like most renowned workplace bullying experts like in the world, okay? I tell you this because I can't tell you how many times I have heard people say that they're being bullied because someone spoke to them in a tone. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say that they were bullied because someone said something that they didn't like, or someone criticized their work, or someone made them come in on a weekend, etc., etc., etc. Bullying, at least in the workplace bullying category, has a very specific definition and a very specific diagnosis. And it has to be repeated, consistent behavior. And there's a whole long list of behaviors. Repeated, consistent behavior over the course of 3 to 6 months at a minimum for it to really be considered to be workplace bullying. And that's not my definition. I didn't make that up. That is the academic consensus on what the phenomenon is and how you can adequately diagnose it from a whole metric F ton of studies. Now, you might put no stock in that at all, and that's fine. But bullying or verbal abuse or emotional harassment or any of these things, it's not just that someone said something you didn't like one time. It is consistent, repeated behavior. We don't have any evidence that the 3-minute clip that we saw was the norm in their relationship. No evidence at all. And so we cannot say this was emotionally abusive or bullying because we don't have any evidence for it being beyond this 3 minutes. Now, it could be. It really could be. And that would be a shame if it was. That would be really bad. I would feel horrible for Hillary Crowder. If that was the world that she lived in day in and day out through that entire marriage and she was doing it on her own and she had no one that she could talk to, then that is horrible. I pray that's not what happened. But right now, we don't know. And that is the point. So people need to stop, or, well, they won't. They will never stop because they're outrage junkies and they're feeding an addiction. But if they were being ethical creatures, which people on the internet are never inclined to be, then they would stop spreading that we know that he was an emotionally abusive, bullying husband, because we don't know that. We know he had a really bad 3 minutes. That's what we know.
Much harder to analyze. Like, in some ways, we wish abuse was more clear cut. And like in this case, like we just don't have the context to know what's going on. That's why it's like, I wish this wasn't out here. I wish we didn't have to talk about it or address it, because like I don't think you can accurately prescribe what's going on from 3 minutes. If it is a really toxic dynamic, I hope both of them get help. And if this was just a bad moment, I have to reiterate, like, they have children. This will live on forever. And that's who's suffering the most from all of this.
Yep. And they'll both, and the issue here too is they'll both be bothered by it. They go through with the divorce. She goes somewhere else. People will always know her as the woman in this clip, and he'll always be known as the dude in this clip. So they're both screwed over it.
I don't see how there's a winner by releasing this. Even if whether it be,
it could help with a lawsuit potentially.
Hillary Crowder's divorce lawyers are the winners. That's who the winner is. That's who released the clip. Hillary Crowder's divorce lawyers.
Or divorce court.
Well, I mean,
exactly.
Having it would, but like putting it out in
it doesn't
public,
help.
giving it, having Yasher put it out, it doesn't. I don't see how there's any
unless it's like a moment of anger, right? Like, if we really think she leaked it and she's like, the way you said your statement makes it sound like this was something I did and you're the victim, and I feel like I suffered. I mean, it's not an okay way to handle it, in my opinion, but again, it's my opinion. I did not have to be involved with any of this. And I just think that like these videos last forever, and their kids are going to inevitably Google themselves, and this will come up.
People are saying like, don't defend Steven, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, I have seen so many videos from protests or of people who are like supposedly innocent being beaten by cops or whatever. And then the full video comes out. And so I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying Steven's perfect. He probably has to apologize for a lot. Okay. And that's fine. But the fact is, this is being weaponized by people who just want to take down Steven Crowder for political reasons.
Well, and if all of us examined ourselves, I mean, I know there've been nights that I've neglected my wife, not done things for her. And if there were clips posted of me sitting at my computer gaming and not spending time with her, people could be like, whoa, look how selfish Lucas is, playing video games and not spending time with his wife.
Well,
I mean,
we're still,
how many of us are guilty of similar things?
How about this? What if you were playing video games with your wife and you're saying stuff like, if I catch you,
I will kill you.
Yeah, right. People, I can't believe he said that. And it's like your wife's laughing and she's like, oh, and
exactly.
But context matters too. What I don't like about this video is the question of who leaked it.
Yep.
And if it was leaked, is this like, was someone aware that they were having a recording created and they said things, you know what I mean? Just like, imagine if you walked up to somebody who trusted you and didn't think that you would leak a recording of them or whatever. And then they said something to you intentionally to make you angry that you knew wasn't true. And there's nothing you can say. Like, if I went to Phil and was like, I know you stole my bike, you'd be like, what? And then you have a negative reaction to it. Then someone leaks the footage being like, when Tim confronted Phil over stealing his bike, Phil freaked out and got really angry.
So it must be true. Yeah.
Right. Like, wouldn't you be angry if someone accused you of abusing them if you didn't?
That has happened to me so many times. And I'm kind of at the point now where I just don't give a fuck anymore. But that has happened to me so many times where some bad faith actor came into a conversation and made a comment and then took my reaction to that comment and completely twisted it out of context. Or even if I didn't even have like a reaction to it, what they would say, but I just said like I responded to it at all, they would take my response and say, Carlin's freaking out. Like, and I'm sitting here going, you're batshit insane, girl. Like, honestly, you're batshit insane. Like, you're crazy. You should be institutionalized. Carlin's freaking out. Oh my gosh, she's losing it. She's melting down. Gets posted all over Twitter. I guarantee you too, what I just did is going to get clipped out of context, and then they're going to post that on Twitter. Just the part where like, Carla's freaking out. They're going to take that part and they're going to post it on Twitter, be like, look, we told you that Carlin was crazy this whole time. Do you guys see how this works? Happens on the internet every single effing day. If there is really one lesson that I really hope people, and you know, hopefully like Steven Crowder fans, because I'm sure that Steven Crowder fans are like pretty annoyed right now. Like you're getting like your guy is being dragged through the mud. I'm sure people are giving you shit for liking him. It's hard to know what to think. Like, you've heard a lot of stuff, right? And like, you know, he's getting dragged through the mud for no good reason because people are pissed off and being petty. So I guess I hope the lesson that people learn from this is stop spreading this shit around the internet. Stop supporting the influencers who do it. I understand people defending themselves. I think that people should be able to defend themselves. If someone's saying something, you should be able to say, no, that's not true, and here's what happened, and here's evidence of you behaving like an unhinged lunatic repeatedly. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be able to respond when other people say something. They should. But can we please, for the love of F, when these attacks come out and they are clearly smear campaigns and there is clearly a vested interest in people who have platforms to communicate this information all over the internet, when it is not news, and all of a sudden all of the attention is going to these petty personal issues, and you can look at them and say, is that even effing real? Why is it so important that I hate Steven Crowder right now because of a private fight he had with his wife? Does that have any impact on the world at all, except to smear Steven Crowder? Can we please all just learn from this and learn to look at these things when they happen and not be so quick to jump into the fray and not be so quick to spread shit around the internet? Because if you're doing this, then don't be surprised if it ever happens to you. Because you've shown that you are okay with it. You've shown you're perfectly willing to smear someone else. So why shouldn't it happen to you? Why shouldn't you get to experience the great joy of having a smear campaign spread against you? You know? Maybe you're like, I don't have a platform. I'm anonymous on the internet. Okay, well, good for you. But do you really feel like you're a good person if you're spreading bullshit about someone around the internet? Do you think that makes you a hero? Shauna, do you think it's a purity spiral, at least partially? I mean, I think it is a form of a virtue signal, isn't it? I definitely think it's a form of a virtue signal. Absolutely. You have to show you're part of the in group. You have to identify whose side am I on. Has everyone posted the black square on their Instagram today? Or is it orange? I forget. I forget which color fucking square we're posting on our Instagram to signify that we're part of the group. Don't excommunicate us. Don't come after us. Don't make us next. It's exactly what it is. Emphasize, she only had leaving on her mind. He had cooking steaks and walking the dog on his mind, but she didn't get the steaks or the wood pellets. I'd be mad too. Well, I guess you're entitled to that, Emphasize. Seems a little ridiculous to me when he said he didn't want her to take the car. That apparently they only have one, which makes no sense at all.
Do it. You know what I mean? Like,
But
so
then to
I'm
follow
not
up with
saying
like,
Crowder's
I'm
innocent.
gonna F you up. Like, it's not
That's what I'm saying. I'm
great.
not saying he's
All
innocent.
bad.
I'm not saying he's innocent at all. I'm just saying, like,
Critical thinking skills are
really
important.
I didn't have this even slated for tonight until everyone was like super chatting and asking about it. And I'm like, the problem I see here is that everyone's jumping the gun and immediately just attacking Crowder over this. And it's like, okay, like I'll say it again. Innocent until proven guilty. It doesn't look good, but it's also none of our business.
Yeah. Is there a date on this video?
I think yes. I
'Cause
think it was
June
2021.
June
Yeah, it-
2021.
This doesn't
Wow.
make doesn't make the exchange better at all, but like it makes me wonder, like,
The
you know, if
timing.
you realize that you're in a terrible dynamic with someone, like, do you do work? Do you seek out a priest or a therapist? Like, how do you work through these things? And like, at what point we'll never know the context of what's going on or
Right.
what afterwards looks
So
like.
June 26th, 2021.
So
So they have twins and yeah.
so I don't want to get too in depth on making assumptions about this, because of my experience and because of people close to me's experience with abusive partners and stuff. I'm gonna leave it at this: like, if you're in a situation where you feel like you are being abused, just get out of it. Like, just leave. Our guitar player has passed away, and leading up to his death, there was a lot of abuse in his relationship. If you're in a situation, just leave. Just leave. Don't worry about telling people. Don't worry about stories. Just get out of it.
I want to add one thing. Like, what I don't like seeing videos on the internet that are like a short snippet and then condemning someone. I like evidence. That's what I did with the Covington kids. But I also am aware that the left has this technique, this trick where they'll start filming and then they'll go, "Why did you just do this thing? Why did you just call me this slur? Why did you just hit me?" And you don't actually see the thing happen. You just see them saying, "Why did you do it?" And the other person is yelling and they're like, "Aha, here's a video of a person who did X."
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Yep.
Sorry, man. What can you believe anymore?
Yep.
Not just the left that does that. It's not just the left that does that at all. Do you know how many smear videos I've had made of me on YouTube where I'm like yelling, usually because I'm either demonstrating a point or that I'm very passionate about something, or sometimes I've been upset too. But there's a clip of me where I'm being fine and talking normally, and then I'm yelling, and then I'm being fine and talking normally again, because that's just the way my streams go, as anyone who watches my streams know. And what they do is they take the clip of me yelling, or they take the clip of me swearing, or they take the clip of me demonstrating, here's what you do when you're really angry at someone. They take that one little clip of me being loud, me yelling, me looking into the camera, me, you know, whatever I'm doing at the time, and they take that clip and they cut everything out around it. And they say, here's proof that Carlin is a psychopathic narcissist. But it's one part of a 3-hour stream. But it's proof. She let the mask drop. They do this all the time. This is why one of the things we do on my channel is we watch things from start to finish. We don't watch the clips. We watch things from start to finish because I want to see all of it. I don't want to see the small little portion that some political operative has given me because they are politically motivated to do so. I want to see the whole thing. And then if that clip really is an accurate version of what happened, it's not cut out of context, there's nothing extenuating around it, that is really what happened, then fine, share the shit out of that clip. But I'm going to watch it for myself before I share anything to make sure I know what I'm looking at. And the reason that is because people cut that shit out of context all the time just to smear someone because they're jealous or they're angry or they feel really, really inferior to that person. It's bullshit, but it's the type of bullshit that gets clicks on YouTube. And then that video is out there about you for the rest of your life. And you hear about it every day for the rest of your life. There are videos that have been made about me from over 2 years ago that I still hear about quite literally every single day of my life that are absolute bullshit videos. Shauna says, I hate that they keep citing, I'm gonna fuck you up. My hubby regularly says, I will shake you like a maraca. It's literally never serious. Again, we don't know and we don't even have video or audio of him saying it. Allotrope, good to see you. Has anyone noticed that Steven sounded like he was terrified to be left alone? Didn't he have a lung injury at the time? Without context, well, yeah, he did seem terrified to be left alone. He also said he couldn't go to the gym, and we know that the lung thing that he had was restricting blood flow through to his heart, which to me kind of explains why he couldn't go to the gym, and he was annoyed about that because he was waiting for that surgery. He did sound afraid to be alone. I agree with you. He absolutely did. Rosalind, I completely agree. Thank you, Rosalind. I do appreciate that. I hope you're having a good day.
Well, and it really
So
comes down to what
apparently
wanna
people are
believe.
saying the wife released it because she said that Crowder was lying about the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Why would the wife release it? Is it because like she's not a public figure?
Yeah, but maybe that's what she's like unhappy about. Like she feels like she suffered, and now Steven's getting to say like, this wasn't my choice. I didn't want to get divorced. And she's like, you didn't attend to our marriage the way you should have. I'm just
Yeah,
speculating.
sure,
I don't
sure.
actually know. I don't want to.
I guess one thing that Yasha reports is that Crowder actually got a divorce lawyer like in advance or something.
But he's in control of the money. That makes sense to me.
I find it all very suspect. I really do.
You know,
Crowder is a person that they've been desperate to get rid of for a very, very long time. He's extremely prominent and effective when it comes to messaging and humor and building culture. He's the only competition for like, well, Gutfeld now, but for a while it was the only right-leaning competition to late night comedy or like morning talk shows. I am not saying he is innocent. I'm just saying it gives me pause and makes me, you know, I find it suspicious.
Well, and there are a lot of people who have chaotic personal lives who can do good, right? Like it doesn't make the messaging and like the entertainment value and the things that he has done to like introduce people to all kinds of important ideas less valuable. It just means that he is a flawed person, but so is everyone at the end of the day.
Yeah, but nobody, it's tough. Like I know I've mistreated people in relationships and even people at work, and then also my wife neglecting her or whatever. And I think a lot of people just are unwilling to acknowledge that, and they want to go judge everyone else's lifestyle instead of going, oh, am I actually making some of the same mistakes? And that, I think that's a lot of the problem. And a lot of the reason they want to go after someone like Crowder or other people who are having issues with their own life is so that they can prop themselves up and feel good. Well, I'm not doing that.
I think especially
Angela said he told his wife he didn't love her. It's over from there on. I don't agree with that. I know of fights where that has happened before, and it is not the truth. It is said, sometimes it's said out of anger, like extreme anger, but anger nonetheless. So I don't agree that that's the end all be all. It's bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's good, but I've seen that happen directly in front of me. And I know that when I've seen it, it has been out of anger.
No, you're actually doing that in another way. You just won't. But that
people are saying it's Crowder's fault he brought this up. It's like maybe the reason Crowder brought it up was because his wife gave the video footage to journalists and to Candace Owens. And he knew it. And he was like, there's nothing I can do about it now. They're going to publish this footage, so I'll get in front of it. Now people are acting like that's proof. They had no choice but to release the footage and give a statement because Crowder brought it up. And it's like, if this has been going on for 2 years and Crowder didn't say anything at all ever.
I actually feel pretty satisfied that Tim basically has the same opinion that I have. Sometimes I might find that eerie, but today I find it comforting simply because there are so many people who are just unilaterally just like going to skewer Steven Crowder. I'm not crazy. Okay, good. Excellent.
Until Yashar Ali was just about to publish the story, it kind of lends itself to they took this move against Crowder, not the other way around.
Yeah. It's just
sad all around. Yep.
I don't know. Does this mean that, you guys in the chat are going to stop watching Steven Crowder or something?
Some people probably want to boycott him. Probably. Yeah.
I mean, I imagine so, but I don't imagine that his audience is going to, I mean, it depends on what comes out. If it's bad mouthing and fighting and bitterly arguing with his wife, people probably won't leave him like high and dry. They'll just be like, okay, you were kind of crappy, just so long as it's not too grossly offensive. If it comes out that he was doing other kind of things that kind of cross physical lines or whatever, then you might lose an audience.
Sure. Well, and this is kind of going back to the first topic of conversation with Budweiser, if there was some stuff going on, and now this is public for PR, but I also think just from a moral standpoint, if Crowder just did a video going, "Hey, I'm sorry you all have had to see my personal life and what happened. Yes, I'm imperfect. Yes, I did some of these things. We're now trying to part ways as well as we can," and et cetera, et cetera. And he did a video, coming forward and explaining the situation and apologizing for any wrongdoing that he did, because he probably did at some level, especially.
That's a fair point. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I think about Crowder's clip today and how he handled it in terms of like saying that he's going to release stuff. I don't think that's right. But I also understand why he might do it, because again, we don't know what he has. Wouldn't people feel like asses if Crowder actually released the full footage that maybe Hillary Crowder didn't think he would do, but Crowder's now so pissed, so he releases the full footage, and we find out that Hillary Crowder was just, I mean, a raving goddamn lunatic leading up to that portion of the fight, so much so that something that she did just like completely dwarfs anything that Steven Crowder did in response. In fact, there is a possibility, and I'm positing here, it's a hypothesis. I'm not saying this happened, but there is a possibility that Hillary Crowder completely lost it and actually made Steven Crowder's response look measured. And if we saw the full video, we might have a very different impression. Maybe that's what he has. How many people would feel like absolute assholes if we saw that footage? Because again, we don't know. Could be, could not be. We don't know. But I think a lot of people would feel like they have a mea culpa, and an apology owed to Steven Crowder if that's what comes out. Rosalind, it's a beautiful autumn Saturday afternoon here in Adelaide, South Australia, having a coffee and enjoying the discourse. I'm really glad to hear that, Rosalind. Thank you for the super chat. And then Shauna says, I do think this whole situation is going to be the internet taking sides because of their own trauma. What a really interesting insight, Shauna. There's not going to be many people who will be able to see clearly. I agree with you. And listen, if you've been in an abusive relationship, I can completely understand why you would look at something like this and be triggered. And I'm not saying that as an own, but like, we all have our triggers. We do. Every single person has things that trigger them. I can absolutely understand why you would look at this footage and see it as monstrous if you've been in an abusive relationship before. I get it. But that's why we need to be honest about why we're feeling the way that we do and how we're interpreting information and what our own baggage is in the situation. And then we got another super chat from Peter, King Peter of the chat. I think unsealing the court docket is ideal. No one can accuse him of cherry picking or editing if they go look at everything in the public record. I mean, I guess, but how brutal. Like, that's brutal. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, let's wrap this up and then I'm going to bed.
I imagine.
If the video, based on the video, I think a lot of people would go, "Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You're transparent. You're being genuine and real. That's what they want Budweiser to do."
Yep.
Here's what I'm going to choose to believe. I mean this as a joke, by the way, that after Crowder came after the Daily Wire,
we have
Jeremy
indeed
Boring to stand,
emphasized.
he's like, "Wow,
We have indeed emphasized. That's true. Let's just wrap it up nicely. Emphasize. No need to go off the rails now. We've had a positive night. Okay.
and then he's like, pull out all the stops. It's time for my revenge." And then like,
Well, Tim is joking, but that's I'm sorry. I firmly believe that Candace Owens had a hand in this. That's my opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion. I firmly believe that Candace Owens had a hand in this and that the Daily Wire knew about it. And that to me is like, Candace's video was intellectually dishonest at best. And I did that last night on the stream. If you guys want to see my full reaction to Candace's response to it, I have a clip of it. I'll probably upload it at some point. I've got so many clips about this. I'm like, how many clips can I upload about Steven Crowder and this whole situation until it's just too much? Anyway, that's a different question. But I wanted to break down the last night's stream for people who don't want to watch the whole thing, essentially. But and Joshua confirmed this. For people who don't know, I have a psychic on my channel. He's a real psychic. He's a professional psychic. He gets a lot of stuff right, including predicting January 6th on January 5th. This is like a legit thing. We do a show every single week called Nothing Remotely Controversial on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. And we talk about the news and Joshua psychics, what's going to happen. Anyway, Joshua and I did a special stream today, and you can watch the clip because we wanted to talk about this. And so Joshua said he saw in his tarot cards, and I agree with his interpretation of them. He saw in the tarot cards that Candace Owens was involved and that the Daily Wire knew what was going on. And it was clear. It was not uncertain. It was very, very clear. You can watch the clip for yourself. I put it on the channel earlier. If you don't believe in psychics, fine. You don't have to. No one's required to or anything. But I do. And I've worked with Joshua long enough to know how accurate he is. And it is scary. And he was emphatic. Yes, they were involved. This isn't just like a night. Again, this is an opinion. I'm going based on a psychic. Don't take it as the gospel. But I don't see any reality in which they aren't involved.
And Michael Knowles are there and Matt Walsh, and they're like, "We're at your disposal, Jeremy." And he's like, "I want dirt on this guy, whatever you can find." And I'm kidding.
Call up my buddy
I'm
at,
not.
at Amazon so that way I can get his Ring camera.
I'm
Oh
not
my
kidding.
gosh.
No,
That's why you
it's all
shouldn't have a
probably-
Ring camera. Like,
I know.
the
Watching this,
first
I'm
thing-
like, don't want any like cloud-based cameras.
and we all floated like, was it a hack? Like the fact that
No. Apparently, they're saying that. I guess Candace said it was the wife. It was Crowder's wife. Gave
that's
footage
the
of it.
simplest explanation. But I'm just anti-Amazon Ring cameras, and I feel like this is a good moment to put that in there.
Yep, close
I
circuit
just-
all the way.
When someone is on camera and they're like, "Phil, that time you struck me was wrong," and then you're like, "What are you talking about? Don't deny it. Now you're proving it."
Yeah.
And then the footage gets released, and it's like, "Oh wow, look at this. Phil looks really, really bad." I'm just kind of like, she walks up to him and she says he's abusing her, and then gives the footage to someone. It's kind of like,
Oh, no,
he does yell. I'll
He
F
does
you up.
yell, and he says some
Yeah.
like crazy stuff, like stuff I would not want to hear.
15 minutes ago, there was a 38 Chinese warplanes and 6 vessels of the People's Liberation Army Navy detected around Taiwan. Taiwanese Defense Ministry
Oh,
says.
great.
But what does that have to do with
Classic.
Crowder getting divorced?
I don't know. I just
Well, then let's move on,
Americans don't
Phil.
care.
I'm sorry.
Classic China breaking news on a Friday, by the
Sorry.
way.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry for.
Feels like
that.
I
Feels
can't
like
keep
Tim, this
going.
is more important.
That I just saw that, and that's
Where did you see that story?
Insider paper. They are verified, so that means they have $8, and
That means they have $8.
259,000 followers.
Do people trust people more with blue check marks still? Do you think?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because now you can buy one, but also
I'm
before,
not
like
seeing the story.
it was arbitrary about who got it. Like you had to be at.
it.
People definitely respected it back then.
Yeah.
Like
But
for
that-
sure.
But even then, it was
Arbitrarily.
at Twitter's discretion. Like if they liked you, you would get one. I get that it had like a symbolic.
Oh, right. This is
meaning.
just breaking
Yeah.
right now. 38 warplanes, 6 vessels of People's Liberation Army Navy detected around Taiwan. Taiwanese Defense Ministry says. Well, I mean, okay. It's the waiting I can't stand. So
Yeah, I
China,
know,
come on,
right?
get on with it.
Come on.
Especially, I actually thought they would make the moves closer to the election because it would be more chaotic. During elections, the president is limited in what they can or can't do.
Because they're so distracted.
No, it's not just that. It's that if there's pros and there's cons. If Joe Biden reacted decisively and took action, people might cheer for it. But if he screws up, he's done for, and it'll put someone else in power. So it ties their hands behind their back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we're sitting here talking about stupid culture war drama nonsense, and China's about to invade Taiwan.
Yeah, World War III starting, right?
Yeah. How many times have we said World War III started by now? I think it's like 8.
That's, yeah, a
Maybe,
lot.
maybe 16. Thanks for watching this clip.
Okay, that's it. That's all I want to listen to on Tim tonight. So guys, you've heard my opinions. If you have any closing thoughts in the chat before I wrap up and go to bed, chat them in now and I will display them on the screen and we can have a little conversation, a little back and forth if we feel so inclined. Andrew says, if they have cameras around their house and this was the worst 3 minutes they have, a lot of people are going to support Steven. Exactly. Exactly. What is this? Starry, or is it real American politics if you would like to react to the exact opposite reaction to Crowder on YouTube? I don't know if I have the energy for it tonight, Starry, but let's see. I should troll Lydia. How? How? Suddenly I'm awake. How should I troll Lydia, Greg? Do you have a suggestion? I'm all ears. All right. Well, Greg is coming up with a 3-point plan to troll Lydia. Hang on. Let me look this up on YouTube real quick. Because why not? It's not like I got to get up in the morning to have an interview or anything. I'm going to be on Eric Matheny's show tomorrow. Bob and Eric Save America around noon, just so you guys know. If you want to hear me talk about the Socialist Conference, we're going to be talking about Socialist Conference. We're going to be talking about abortion doula. We're going to be talking about all of the insanity from that whole event. That's going to be on Bob and Eric Save America. And you can check Eric Matheny out on Twitter if you aren't familiar with him. Oh, is it this Crowder situation? That's 15 minutes. Okay. I don't know who these people are, Starry. Let's see. Do we have any brilliant ideas to troll Lydia? What's Lydia been doing? Has anyone been watching Lydia? What's been going on? I have no idea. All right. I don't know that I have it in me to watch another video tonight. My eyes are swiftly closing right here, and I'm kind of like already dazing out a little bit. But guys, thank you for spending some time with me tonight. This went way longer than I thought it was going to, but they always do. Every single time I'm like, it's gonna be like 15, 20 minutes tops of a stream, and then 2 hours later, I'm still live on the internet. No, we're not. Not tonight. Not tonight. No, 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 no. But guys, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I will be back tomorrow. Well, I guess today, again, 6 p.m. Saturday. Come join us for Socialism Saturday. It is the most dystopian thing you'll watch all week. We are going at 6 p.m. We are going to be watching Real Socialist discuss what they call the George Floyd Rebellion. Set the reminder on the channel right now. You're already here. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've got those notifications turned on. And we're going to watch the most dystopian stream you will see all week at 6 p.m. It's going to be great. You guys are going to love it. If you have never watched Socialism with us before, it's a treat, guys. You might hate socialism, and that's fine. I will get you to love to hate socialism, and I will show you socialist content that will blow your mind. I will show you content that no one else on YouTube is showing you. Okay? So 6 p.m., George Floyd Rebellion, Socialism Saturday. We'll see you guys later. I'm going to go get some rest. Have a good one. Take care. We'll see you soon.